Oh man, it really wanted to hang out. The music wanted to hang out. I get it. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Saturday night. Hey Quilting Politic, how's it going? I hope everybody's here because I have really exciting news. Are you ready for this? I promised. Happy Saturday, Stephanie Cake. I promised, and I delivered. But that's not the only new sound effect. Hang on, let me play it again. So that's good. And then, thanks, Susan. But that's not all. I don't know who said it. Hey, Kenny VNC. Hey, Nunmaker, happy Saturday. Yes, exactly. Howdy, okay, proud. And Pemberito. And then the other one is this one. I forget who suggested it, but it was, highlight my message. Okay, good. Modern Domestic was amazing. What do you mean, Myra? Give me all the tea. I've stayed off the internet all day. I mean, I don't even know what the video's doing, how it's performing. Jill Alex, this face is my favorite face. Because I like how my teeth look a little bit like Wallace and Gromit. I like it. And actually, I could do a really, really, it's such a good face. It's such a good face to teach people, but I don't know, it's pretty, I'll teach you, I don't know. I'll put it in the Discord. It's a really good funny face, but it's a lot. I wouldn't want a thumbnail of it, if you know what I'm saying. So here, I forget who said it. I forget who suggested it. But this is the other sound effects, the new one that I promised you I would have tonight. Listen to this. It's that lady from Princess Bride. I was like, we should have a boo cue, and someone was like, what about that lady from Princess Bride? Boo, boo, Buttercup. So that's fun. Hey, so on Positive Threads. I'm so glad you're here. More soundboard. I mean, now we've got a lot. In fact, the other things that my soundboard does, I don't use them. It's all sound effects, which is fine. But there's it can do some cool stuff, but I don't know what to do. So hey, Crafts Brothers, sometimes Eric won't get a notification either, and I think it's not. I mean, we can blame Twitch for a lot of things because Twitch can be annoying, but so can the internet and Wi-Fi connections and stuff. But I think sometimes phones, who knows? So much has to happen between one thing and another. Hey, NDH, thank you for subscribing. That's so great. I appreciate you. I appreciate your subscription. It's awesome. And everybody who subscribes, I appreciate you. Yeah, sometimes the notification, I don't know what happens. Oh dear, wait a minute. I didn't finish reading everything. Glad you're on tonight. Was needing something to distract me today. 3 years ago, my husband had a medical emergency and never recovered. After having to take him off life support, he passed on the 13th, our nephew's birthday day, before my birthday on the 14th. Val, I don't know. I'm thanks for telling the story. I think the longer we're doing the show, the more we get to know people and we know some more about people's lives. I mean, little thing. I mean, not little things, but little by little, we kind of get the sense of a person, and you haven't shared that before, and I'm glad you feel safe enough to do it. I was thinking about life today, a lot of life, the way it's so strange, and I hope that this is a distraction for you, because that stuff can be really heavy, obviously, and yeah, sometimes you just need to coast for a little bit, So I'm glad you're here, and and I wish you some strength, And these sound effects, it's even if you wanted to concentrate on something, I'm going to try to make it so you can't, okay? I'll try to make it so you can't. So anyway, let me have a drink of water here. So there's stuff going on, and I, Stephanie K, getting a chance to laugh feels good during grief. From my experience, you are among friends indeed. And that actually reminds me, Stephanie, that there's something I haven't, usually I post on Instagram, I do a story when I'm about to go live, or like that day if we have a show tonight. And I haven't done it this week because, I don't know, like I'm not hiding, like here I am. It's not like I like canceled shows or anything like that. But, I want people to come and watch this show. But with this drama, like I guess I just don't want to court disaster, And by the way, thank you to all my mods who are here. I really appreciate you. I don't know. I mean, I just think like, someone said, and I don't, I'm not reading the comments, but people bring me the things, that maybe are going on, or I see conversation about it. And, someone was like, she's doing this for publicity. And I was like, man, I wish I was like so strategic and like savvy that I would do that. And, because I don't wish I was that way, but I'm not that way. And I think if I were that way, I would like be like in the comments and like promoting the show or being like, well, on my Twitch show, blah, 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 blah. Quite the opposite. This show is not just me here. I'm here speaking, alone, going like this, to a camera that, I can't see you, but I see you. But I can't, I do the show without you. And so if I broadcast the fact, because I haven't been on Instagram much this week, just a couple times, So if I'm on and I'm like, I'm twitching tonight, I don't know. I just feel like there's more possibility that we'd get trolls, and I don't want that. I don't want that for you, and I don't want it for the show. And so I haven't been doing that. But Stephanie said, you're among friends, and so next week I'm gonna go back to that, to the regular thing where I like let the world know that I'm gonna be on a live stream, and I don't know, maybe things, I think that we haven't gotten as much trolling because people haven't watched the whole video, and I do the plug for Quilt Nerd at the end, and I don't think they see that. Maybe they're just like, we don't care, she's the worst, but they keep talking about it, so I feel like they care. But I think that, anyway, next week I'm going to go back to the regular thing, which is like, hey, Quilt Nerd is live, Kelly, I feel the completely same way. I feel the same way. So I just want to let you know I'm not like hiding out. I'm just trying to be cool, man. You gotta be cool. So, yeah, exactly. 70. I would do the YouTube apology if I was working the views, man. Totally. Yeah, totally. Jill, you got it. You love me before quilt coats. Well, thank you very much. I'm a total disaster, but the more I've been thinking about things, I'm just firm. I was thinking I've made so many mistakes in my life. I've made mistakes with relationships. I've made mistakes with love relationships, friendships. Done things that I regretted. I'm 42 years old, and I love a lot, and I like adventure, and so like I'm not living a very quiet, tame life. I really like embrace life by the whatever, and that can. I'm 42 years old. 42 years of that, for sure, I've hurt people, and they've hurt me too. And I've made mistakes, and professionally too, done things that I was like, oh my God, how am I going to fix this? I can't fix this. How can I like show my face? Like I'm so embarrassed, or like this was so stupid. I feel so bad, blah, blah, blah. And I know what that's like. And if I had made a mistake, if I regretted or was like, oh, I really screwed up, this would be a very different experience. I would be having a really hard time because people really hate me. But I didn't make a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. I just keep like wondering, like, is there something I'm missing? And I'm not. I feel okay. I'm tired though. Like tonight, I'll tell you what we're going to talk about tonight, content-wise. But like tonight, I'm tired. It's so much focus. It's a distraction in a really, like when you fall in love or when you're grieving someone, right? Val knows this. When you're grieving someone, or you fall in love, or you maybe get a new job, or you lose your job, when something kind of big happens, and this feels not like big like falling in love or like grieving at all. But it's a development that I'll be like, oh yeah, remember when that happened? It feels big enough to say that it's a distraction like that, where it's really hard to concentrate on like the things I need to really concentrate on, like QuiltCon. The week before QuiltCon is one of my busiest weeks of the whole year. And so I gotta get those slides ready. Ooh. And so I think thinking of that, and then with all the other stuff on top, it's making me feel kind of tired. So I don't think tonight will be an epic show, like lengthwise. But I'll tell you, as I'm saying hi, I'll tell you what I did today and why I feel like really, I feel filled up with goodness. Hey, Biff and Bonnie and Sue. I think I said hi to Sue. I think you were the first one I said hi to. And Sue John. Hello. Myra. Hey. Myra, you mentioned Mr. Domestic. What happened? Good evening, Padma. 3 nights in a row. What will you do with all this enthusiasm? You will send it my way. So for the next 2 days, I would love to get my stuff done so I can be like, but there's just something, my slides take forever. Anyway, all the enthusiasm, you're just going to bottle it and you're going to keep it for the days when you don't have any. And then you'll be like, I've got some. And you'll be like, shh. M. Hicks and Cindy D. Mother Nature, it's good to see you too. L. Riggs. Little Bird Stitch and Dana. Andy H, you subscribed. That's so amazing. Susan Armichael, you mentioned the Beastie Boys earlier. Yeah, I'm a Beastie Boys fan. The Nerd Crew has arrived. Indeed. I'm so excited that's so positive that you're here. That's awesome. And Kenny and everybody. Ivy Kadivy. It's so good. Well, I hope it's going to be good for the soul. You're in pizza having Portland. You're in Portland having pizza, Myra, at Ken's Artisan Pizza. Oh my God! You know what? Last night. Oh, I see. I was thinking Mr. Domestic. Modern Domestic. That's a good place to be. That's awesome. You spent 2 hours at Modern Domestic on a Bernina quilting your lazy gardener's quilt. That's amazing. That's so great. You've never used a Bernina. They're pretty great, right? You were done in 2 hours. Myra, you're a newer quilter, right? I have that right, don't I? You're newer. Am I thinking of Padma? No. It's Myra, right? That's pretty impressive. Hey, Pen Burrito. I'm so glad that you're eating pizza. I wish I was eating pizza. No Flinster, it's good to see you too. California, you say, M. Hicks. Dee Dee Brew Crew, good to see you. And believe me, if I miss anybody, it's just because I'm tired and I just do it. Penny Catherine, Penny and Kenny. I'm putting you guys together. I don't know. I feel like you could take it on the road, Let's see, Kelly, I think I had Sibby Mac, Rusty Cat, Fiandor. Hello, Fiandor. I think Fiandor you're an enigma, Fiandor. You come in, you leave those music emotes, which, I sincerely love seeing them. It's just kind of like, it's like having my potato chips. Just like to see it. But then you're silent. Silent and enigmatic. I love it. Oh, and hey, let's see. Oh, did I say hi to? Okay, yeah. Last night I wanted to say, hey, Teacher Stitch. Oh yeah, last night I was like, I'll see you Tuesday. I forgot it was Friday instead of Saturday. So yes, there's a show today. It's happening right now. Hey, Dee Marie. And Yvonne, hi. L. Riggs, and everybody's here. It's so great. So, last night, Liz D, hello. I said something last night that I want to clear up. This week is the week of like, oh dear, did everyone misunderstand me? I just want to make sure I didn't. Court Quilts is here. Good. Dana, okay. Everybody, Bip, yeah, okay. I think I got you. If I missed you, I'll see you soon, okay, in here. Bridgewater, good to see you. Last night I was like, I talked about Mrs. Brown, in 4th grade, and like taking anytime, you're feeling like, I think things are getting heated, me and this person, in the Discord I'm talking about, in our little, Discord that we have for the Quilt Nerd Show, take it out, into the hall with Mrs. Brown. Take it kind of an argument that's getting heated into the DMs so that people don't feel pressure to weigh in or take a side or anything. But I didn't say a really important part of who someone inspired me to do that. And I I didn't say that what inspired me to make that rule of like, if things are getting weird in the chat or on the Discord, you know, and it starts to feel that way, that weird way, you're like, I think I'm getting into a fight on the internet, or I think I'm getting into an argument that's gonna make me feel when I see that person's name, or you know, take it into the hallway, like Mrs. Brown used to take the girls who were fighting in 4th grade into the hallway and resolve it, and then we could go back into the classroom. The reason that this person inspired me was not because she was being, you know, upset or weird. It was that she said something that was counter to what more other people were saying, and I thought that took a lot of gumption. It's super brave, you know, like, and she was like, I don't think so, and like, you know, 4 or 5 people were like, yeah, like this and that. And then this person said, you know, I'm not so sure. And I was like, my spidey sense was like, and things are cool because you guys are cool. But sometimes, even though people are cool, they get weird. And so, you know, I just wanted, I did not finish that thought. You know, it was not like I saw somebody doing something and anyway, it was because it was awesome that she was like, excuse me. And I just want that to be a safe kind of deal. If somebody's like, I don't agree with this. I just want that to be okay to do in the Discord. You know what I'm saying? So that is what's up with that. Who's got to be on the replay? So Positive, you got to be on the replay. Okay. Hey, Brendan. Well, So Positive, if you got to go, we'll see you on the replay. Oh, God. Someone's violated and dehydrated. Oh, dear God. Oh, no. Oh, God. I missed something. Okay, wait. Yeah, you know, Dana, I don't know what it's going to say. I don't know what people are going to do at QuiltCon. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What was I was going to say something. Oh, yeah. The reason that I'm in a good mood, even though I'm pretty tired, is, I saw my friend, I'm not going to cry. I have 2 best friends, you know? And my best friend had a baby 3 months ago, and I had never met it. Because of COVID and being in London. And so I got to meet the baby today, you know? And so that was really amazing. And, I mean, this baby is... I was like, I can't say this baby is a miracle, because that's like, you know, been done. I mean, it's, you know, it is. But it's like, well, what can I say to, like, say how special this little nugget is, you know? And it was like, the best thing I can say is that she's my friend's daughter. she's Sophie's daughter, and she's just like, she's so perfect. And she liked me. Because, you know, I'm always afraid of babies. You know, you never know. Okay, so Karen, we'll see you on the replay. No, Jill, no. It wasn't. It was something else. Yeah, and so what was I saying? Yeah, so I'm nervous about babies, you know. It's like, oh, if they don't like me, I must be like, you know, rotten to the core or something. But the baby totally smiled at me, and like a lot. Like I was like, I held her, and I was like, you know, with the bottle, and she was like really chowing down. And at one point she stopped sucking on that bottle to smile at me, and she was like, and I was like, don't you want, you know, I gotta eat this stuff. And she was like, and apparently she's a real fussy baby, and she doesn't do that with very many people. So I felt really good about that. Really good about that. Oh my God. It was really, really good to like hold a baby, you know, and be around a dog. And her name's Tanager. And her name is Tanager because my friends are birders. They're like crazy birders. I mean, amazing birders. And I didn't really get it. And then we got a bird feeder over here stuck with suction cups to the outside of our apartment window. And now I kind of get it with the birds because they're really cool. But my friends are really into birds, really into them. And a tanager is their favorite bird. So they named the baby Tanager. It's perfect. And so anyway, yeah. So that's really good. So that made me really happy. And so I'm feeling good, feeling energized and happy to be here. So what are we doing tonight? What are we doing? Birds, you're into birds. Oh yeah, word and bird nerd. Wait a minute. Why I didn't even put it together? You're a birder. I mean, obviously, right? Scarlet Tanager. That's right. It's a Scarlet Tanager. Okay, so where's my... I gotta get a different pen. Hang on. I got pen problems. One second. I'm getting a pen. I'm talking. Everything's happening. I'm gonna do that. Will I do this? Yes. Okay. So in case you didn't know, we're doing a giveaway. We got 100 shows of Quilt Nerd coming up. Yeah, birds and babies, like thumbs up, you know. Oh, Niflinster, you're making a baby quilt? That's amazing. That's so great. You made a quilt for her daughter 32 years ago. Wow. Well, this quilt behind me, which we'll talk about in just a second, is a baby quilt. It's a crib quilt. So, yeah, we're doing a giveaway. Let me show you real quick before we look at the quilt behind me, because every quilt, every show, Quilt Nerd, we start with a different quilt behind me and we talk about it, and that's kind of like the launch pad for the content. And if you've never seen this show before, it's pretty simple. We really enjoy looking at quilts because quilts have a lot to tell us, and they raise a lot of questions too. And so we like looking at them because they bring us together. I mean, at the very least, it's like this shared interest, and you meet a lot of really interesting people when you get into quilts. And when you make them, it's really fun because you can share how to make them and you know how not to make them if you really screwed up making one time. And there's just so much scholarship and like really cool stuff to learn when you look at quilts really closely. And so that's what we do. That's it. And, you know, the shows are a couple hours. I encourage you to do other things while you've got this on. Sewing is recommended, but, you know, my mom's getting into watercolor painting. She's doing some watercolors. She's pretty talented. So maybe she's going to like play watercolor. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired. Busy hands, happy hands. That's right. So the giveaway is pretty cool. So on February 20th, I gotta get small. On February 20th at QuiltCon, it's a Sunday. We're gonna I'll draw a name from the subscriber list. All the subscribers who support this show at any tier. You mean a lot to me. Your support means a lot to me, and so yeah, giveaways like this, like we gotta do these, you know, and it seems like a good thing to do for the 100th show. It'll be 100 shows that day, and it might be 99 shows. It might actually be like 101 shows. I'm not totally sure. It's a crack up, but it's the 100th episode Quilt Nerd Observed. That's what we're gonna call it. Because if you weren't here last night, I think I mentioned. Anyway, I added a show a while ago. I added a show on Monday night. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's not going to happen. There's too much going on. So there'll be a Valentine's Day special show, but that's the only extra show between now and QuiltCon. So a few weeks ago, we found the work of this really talented woman, Margaret Wood. She's on your screen now. Very interesting artist and maker. She is Navajo Seminole. That's her background, her heritage, her tribe. And she did fashion design, and then she changed to quilts, and she was really active in the 80s and the 90s. This is some of her early work, this jewelry. She's just really cool, and through learning about her and just checking out some of her work, I came across an interview done of her by this woman, and I was looking into that interview and just kind of gathering content for the show. And by the way, if you've never seen the show too, it's not a presentation, it's not a lecture. I grab things and I kind of put them all in a pile, and we go through stuff together. It's a discovery kind of deal. So I was looking at this interview and at Margaret Wood and her work, and so the woman who did the interview, it turns out that she has a really interesting endeavor called Beyond Buckskin. And this is the person. Beyond Buckskin is a website and business dedicated to promoting and selling Native American-made fashion. It is headed up by Dr. Jessica R. Metcalf, and that's the woman who did the interview, Turtle Mountain, Chippewa, who holds a PhD in American Indian Studies with an emphasis on art, education, and culture. She wrote a doctoral dissertation on Native American designers of high fashion. So then we got into this whole thing of looking at Native American designers in high fashion. Remember the jewelry? Remember the jewelry? It was so great. And those boots, those Louboutins that they like put all the beads on, it was amazing. And this is her project would steer her toward a lifelong journey of supporting, promoting, and working with Native American artists. So I was looking at this stuff and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then I looked at the shop and I got pretty excited. So we dipped in here and I can't see the chat. Oh, we hey Molly, how's it going? Yeah, we will take listen, Court Quilts, we will take pictures at QuiltCon for sure. Everybody's a little bit nervous. Maybe not everybody, but like, it's gonna be a weird show for so many reasons. I'm excited. I gotta tell you something. Anyway, so there's this wonderful shop, and all of these products on the shop are sourced from and support Native American fashion designers. It's so cool, and the stuff is so cool. Like, I don't know. I think all of it is really beautiful, and the whole point of it is to amplify these voices, help these designers, make their way, and so it's they say explicitly they want people to, buy their goods, wear their goods, and enjoy them, right? Everyone. The point is to sort of celebrate this kind of design. And so $100 gift card to Beyond Buckskin. I don't know, it's just all really stuff that I want. This is a cowl. Isn't that cool? It's so groovy. Mother Nature's got a new phone for QuiltCon. That's awesome. Yeah, take lots of pics and follow the Quilt Nerd Instagram. Yo Quilt Nerd. Anyway, so we're gonna draw on Sunday live. I don't know how it's gonna work, but live on Sunday, February 20th, and I'll figure out what time and stuff. We'll get that worked out. I don't know yet, but we'll do it. And then the other thing I think is to say that it's an unexpected result of all this fracas. By the way, I haven't looked at like how the video is performing. So is it, how's it performing? I haven't looked, and I don't want to look. I'm not gonna look. I'm not like, I'm not going to look. I'm just not looking. Like, I don't know. But I'm curious, And Eric's going to be coming home soon, and he'd tell me. But anyway, I was with a baby all day. I was petting babies and dogs. But here's an unintended result of all this. I was like, what am I going to wear to QuiltCon, remember? And remember when I was going to wear sweatpants? I don't think I can do that anymore. I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? And then I was like, you know what? What is it to be sustainable with fashion? What does that mean? What does it really mean? Have I ever taken that really seriously myself? Sustainable fashion. Like, I do like buying stuff at, secondhand stores and stuff. I do like vintage and stuff, and that's sustainable. Buying vintage is for sure way more sustainable than buying new things, but I've never committed to it. That's for sure. Never. Because it can be really expensive, but also like, I don't know, where do you even start with something like that? And it's like, well, the internet. But I mean, the world is really big. Like, what about sustainable fashion? So I started poking around. It was really hard research, looking at really pretty clothes. But I looked at, sleep wins. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Oh, wow. 350 comments. That's a lot of comments. Wait, who's going to sleep? Somebody's got to go to sleep. Whoever's going to sleep, sleep is approved. Sleep is approved. Yeah. Sleep well. Anyway, so I started looking at sustainable fashion, and I bought a couple things, and it felt good. I was like, maybe this whole thing will like really kind of make me. Maybe I'll start really doing it, put my money where my mouth is. It's like, that's not sustainable. It's like, well, neither is your pair of jeans, Mary, so, Court Quilts. I noticed negative comments are at the top, but there's equal engagement for the supportive comments. God, that's good to hear it. Good to hear it. Yeah, sometimes Eric was like, nobody calls with good news, That's really good to hear, though. Really good. Mother Nature went out for the first time in a long time. Feels kind of weird, right? Feels kind of weird. Yeah, it does. Hey, Silver Snow. Good to see you. Okay. So that's the scoop. I'm thinking about sustainable fashion in a way I've never thought about it before, which is really interesting. So this quilt, I gotta tell you, I don't have much to say about it. I don't. It's a quilt from the International Quilt Museum. The secondhand velour tracksuit. There's a lot of those in England, I gotta tell you. The chav is like a, hold on, I gotta do something here. I gotta get this quilt. I hope it's not a really, like, I hope it's not a phrase that's problematic. I mean, it's what they call these guys, you know, the chavs, these guys who wear these velour tracksuits and, you know, oi, they're kind of like, I don't know, they're kind of like frat boy kind of types. People who are in the UK, they probably know what chav is. They're just kind of like, I don't know, cocky guys. Oh, sorry about that. So there's a lot of velour tracksuits with that crowd. Chavs. Okay, good. Okay, Rusty Cat. I'm already canceled, so that's probably okay. But I don't want to offend anybody. So this quilt is just really, it's just really simple. It's by Irene Wiley. It's a Sunshine and Shadow from 1995, and it's 18 by 18 inches. So that's really small. It's pretty small. And you know, chaps. Okay. Oh yeah, Molly, you do, because of the fracas, right? With the frat boys. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they're kind of a problem, chavs. They're messy. So here's the thing. Here's the deal with this quilt. So this show tonight is probably like the loosest in terms of like, whoa, like how is this gonna go? I don't know. I've got fabulous quilts to show you, but usually I have like it's probably fine. If I didn't say that, you probably wouldn't even know. I'm probably too worried about it. But here the thing is I looked for a quilt. I looked for a Sunshine and Shadow quilt to put as the background for the show, because I got a book in the mail the other day about California quilts. There's a lot of books on California quilts, but I didn't have this one, and it's a really good one. And oh no, oh god, yeah, you know what? If I had an OG quilt vest for my mom, I might do it. Well, I don't know. I feel like that might be like subtly trolling. I don't know. I don't want no trouble, unless it's like in a really like proper way, you know, like answer for yourself, people. Okay, anyway, so I wanted so tonight's show, California. I was like, oh my god, California. That's the title of the show. It's like, let's talk about California quilts. And we'll get into that, because that's what's coming up next. I thought that's a really neat idea, like California, and then because there's so much to talk about. But then I thought, well, how about a Sunshine and Shadow quilt to start out with? And I searched the International Quilt Museum, and this was one of the quilts that they have listed as Sunshine and Shadow, and it's a crib quilt or a doll quilt, and it's made in 1995 by Irene Wiley. And what made me pause on it is that, the International Quilt the International Quilt Museum, I don't see a lot of quilts like this in their collection when I'm poking around. Now, there may be many, many more. I don't know that they have all of their quilts online, searchable in the database. But I don't come across a quilt like this much. And when I say like this, I mean like, yeah, the vests. It's true. Vests, man. Vests need to come back. It's just sort of, it looks like a quilt that, I don't know, that any of us would have in our house. Sometimes you see these like masterpiece things and they're so great. And it's just got that particular pink and the black. It looks like it's not from the 70s, and it's not, it could be from the 80s, but it's just sort of a more contemporary looking quilt. And to be honest, it doesn't look like crazy, please save this quilt, but there's a reason. There's a reason why. And I did not look up Irene Wiley. I can do that. But what I mean by tonight's content is pretty fast and loose. I got back from seeing that baby, and I started to get stuff together, and it was 8 o'clock. It was like 7:45 before I even knew what was happening. So what about this quilt? I don't know. There's more to be revealed about it, but I thought we have never had a quilt like this to start the show. It's usually something, it's kind of a showstopper, or it's unusual, and this one's just kind of like, this is kind of a quilt that Tanager might have. It's just kind of one of those quilts in everyday life, and I thought that was cool. So I like it. Baby therapy. Babies are cool. Babies are the coolest. Hey, Raffle. So good to see you. Kenny has a collection of vests. You haven't had to dress for work in 2 years. Yeah, exactly. So unless a Beau Brummel. Oh my God. Okay, look. Beau Brummel. You get the nerd award. Who was Beau Brummel? He was on television, right? I remember from Annie. Beau Brummel. I mean, they mentioned Beau Brummel in the Annie musical, and that's how I know about it. Anyway, you guys are into vests. Wait a minute, look at all this vest chat. Vests don't get the respect they deserve, says Stephanie Cake. This is the book! This is the book. Oh my God. Wait, Padma, didn't I tell you? I did tell you. I told you on the show the other day that the book came, and I had all of these books on my. Okay, this is the mystery. This is the mystery. Well, we're looking at that book tonight. Okay, now I understand. So I have a very big pile of books on my table, and Padma, you were in the show when I told you that I got it. You better have been. Oh God. No, I did. I told you. But anyway, yes, I got it. So the book that we have tonight, that's the book Padma sent me. Okay, now I get it. It's interesting because I have, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So this show is dedicated to Padma. Okay. The mystery solved. Okay. So I want to know, so now I want to know. Okay. We'll get there. M. Hicks says, we used to live close to a university. Let's see. I opened up the front door. My wooden garden bench was upended. Oh, no. Oh, drunken college guys. Yeah. Vests, drunken college guys. No, it's okay. Padma, I did thank you. I want you to know that, but I should make sure that you know that. With like an email or something. But it's awesome. So we'll look at some of the pictures from that. It's amazing. So let's talk about it. We have okay, I gotta focus. We have a few things to say about California, right, with quilts. All of these quilt documentation projects happened in the 80s and the 90s, and California, there's a lot of these books about California. I can think of at least a few, because there's so much that happened in California in terms of quilt making. And the reason I even thought about California is partly because it's really cold here, and I was thinking about okay, that's it Padma, that's it. It was Thursday. So California, the reason I'm thinking about this is I'm going to have a conversation with Red Kirikoff, at QuiltCon. And he produced the Quilt Digest. He and some other folks produced the Quilt Digest. And some of you have some of these. There were only 5 issues made. 5 issues made. They produced the Quilt Digest for a few years, I think, and it was in the 80s. And so it didn't get produced for very long, but while it was produced, it's really special. It's a really special publication. It's unusual. We'll talk about the Quilt Digest at some point, just specifically. But I'm thinking about this Red Kirikoff conversation, and we talked about the interview the other day, and I ran some of the questions past him and working on my approach to all that. And one of the things I asked him was, about being in California, because he lives in San Francisco and he's lived there a long time. And it was in California when so much of the art quilt movement was taking place. And so much of the art quilt heat was in California. Like so many of the artists that rose to sort of prominence in the art quilt world were in California. There were people in Ohio, it seemed. I mean, there were people everywhere, but like Ohio was a hot spot, and Massachusetts, there were some people out there. And so, but when you look at like the rogues gallery of like a lot of the art quilters, not all of them, of course, but some of those names, just a lot of them you find in California. And so I've been thinking about California, and like I said, it's really cold, so I was thinking about California a lot. So I thought, well, let's go to California and just kind of see what we get, and it led me to some pretty interesting places. So this is Esther Parkhurst. It's called The Twilight Zone, and one of the things I found as I was looking around was this paper by Nancy Bavor. And this is available if you search the name or search the title. It's called, hang on one second. It's called The California Art Quilt Revolution by Nancy Bavor. It's 134 pages. Okay, so it's it's a thesis. I think it's her thesis. What is this? Yeah. It's her thesis, presented to the faculty of the Graduate College at the University of Nebraska for a Master of Arts in Textiles, Clothing, and Design. Michael James was her advisor for this paper. So the California Art Quilt Revolution, you can find it. If you Google it, it's free. I mean, it's on the internet, and look, I printed it out. It's 134 pages, and I'm such a nerd that this is like going to be like a reason to get all my slides done so I can read this. For fun. Yeah. So I printed this out, and I was like, well, I won't be able to read that before the show. But, oh, yes. Yes, the Twilight Zone music, indeed. It's going to happen again, though. It's going to happen again, Padma, because, well, you're about to see. So I was like, let me think about what art quilts I can pull from California makers, put those together. But then I remembered that we saw Roland Freeman yesterday in the Quilters newsletter. Remember the guy who wrote Communion of the Spirits? He was featured in the Quilters newsletter. Yeah, ooh, cool. There's a textile talk on the California art movement. That's so great. That's so great. I missed a bunch of those. Okay, I need to listen to that. I need to write it down. So I remembered Roland Freeman and seeing him, and I was like, wait a minute. That book, The Communion of the Spirits, is it's a travel. I mean, he travels across the country, right, meeting African American quilters, and so I went and I was like, does he have like a chapter on California, or is he obviously is going to be in California? Oh yeah. Check this out. Chapter 6. California. So I was like, cool. And I'm flipping through and scanning some stuff. Actually, I found this book on archive.org, so I was able to go in and take screenshots instead of stand at the scanner. But what do you suppose I found? Yes. Hey, Michelle Lee. Thank you so much for subscribing. That's awesome. I appreciate you. You'll be entered into the drawing for the Beyond Buckskin Boutique $100 gift card on Sunday, the 20th. So this is one of the most famous quilts ever. And there's actually 2 quilts that are sort of part of this. Look at this. Have you seen this? Look at this. Oh yeah, thanks Raffle Waffle. Thanks for the welcome basket. Yeah, welcome to the subscriber crew. This is a quilt that is very well known in the quilt, history, like, I don't know, halls of quilt history. It's the Frederick Douglass quilt designed by Ben Irvin, made by the Negro History Club of Marin City and Sausalito, California. It was made in 1953. And this one was made in 1951, also designed by Ben Irvin and made by the Negro History Club of Marin City and Sausalito, California. So the reason we play this is because it's Black History Month. And I didn't even think about what a great quilt to show on Quilt Nerd. These are great quilts. to show for any show, but for Black History Month, it's so awesome. I mean, can you believe this thing? And so here it is in Communion of the Spirits, and all I was doing was looking for California. Well, it was made in California, both of them. So I kind of like that. I think that's a pretty awesome gift, you know? I'm telling you. I can't believe they're quilts either. It's just so great. And 1953. So that's a weird thing too. Because, you know, we're talking about art quilts in California, and it's like, you know, people put the art quilt thing happening in the 1980s, but like, in 1953, this happened, you know? I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it? Her bowl, I know everything. Well, look, and this the bonnet here on this woman, and look at the shading on that person's face. I mean, I don't even know. What I want to do is, I don't know where I've seen this, because I took a screenshot of this from the archive.org book archive.org copy of the book. And it's not bad, but yeah, I don't know. But I mean, you can see all the detail. It's crazy. Look at the flag. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, the quilts look familiar, Stephanie Cake, but you didn't realize they were made that long ago? Me neither. It's like you see stuff, but you know, you can forget details, and when I read 1953, I just couldn't believe it. Okay, so let me read to you about these quilts. Okay. Oh, and then these. I'll go back to Harriet, but this is Anne S. Thurman on the left and Sue Bailey Thurman on the right in San Francisco. Remember, we're staying in California tonight. In 1992. By the way, this quilt to their left, I love. And so here's a little bit about this. Let's see. There's more to say. I mean, this is a fairly long piece. I'm not going to read it all. But none of the stuff you're going to see tonight is a super deep dive because, like I said, we're playing it fast and loose. So okay. Hold on now. Let's zoom in a little bit on Harriet. Okay. So they're talking about how they started to quilt, the Thurmans. A quilt project. Hang on. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm just going to start here. In 1944, the Thurmans left Washington and moved to San Francisco, California, where they started the Church for the Fellowship of All People. Mrs. Thurman continued to edit the African American Women's Journal, AWJ, for a few more years. These were exciting times. Many African Americans had migrated west to work in the war industries. I can't believe this is a quilt. That's my side note, not in the book. And some had settled in Marin County, California, where they mingled with newly arrived European immigrants. Okay, in the war industries. Okay. In this unique setting at war's end, an integrated group were meeting regularly at the home of white artist Ben Irvin in the name of understanding and awareness of each other's cultural values. Mrs. Thurman said of this group, quote, "I doubt if it would have been possible to do this in any other part of the country at that time." Wow, unquote. This wasn't so much a Negro history group at its inception as it was just some neighbors and friends who wanted to share and learn from each other. A quilt project evolved out of this climate. One of the first quilts they made resulted from Ben Irvin's fascination with the story of Harriet Moses Tubman. Isn't it great? Oh, that's so great. A courageous African American who led more than 300 slaves out of the South to freedom via the Underground Railroad. Mr. Irvin designed a quilt with an imposing figure of Harriet Tubman in the foreground. In the background, in a dark sky, were the North Star, which Tubman used as a guide. Which Tubman used as a guide. And an owl that denotes her wisdom and ability to travel successfully at night. How cool is that? Some women in the group told Mr. Irvin that they'd read in the African American Women's Journal about Mrs. Thurman's interest in Negro history. He already knew of the work of Reverend Thurman was doing. When the Tubman quilt was completed in 1951, Mr. Irvin called the Thurmans, and they invited him to bring the quilt that day. Mrs. Thurman immediately became an advocate for the quilt and wrote about it in the African American Women's Journal. The quilt also won second place at the 1952 California State Fair. So groovy. I love it. Wonder if they're hand-dyed fabrics. That's a very good question. I wonder if they'll answer. I don't know. Because of Harriet Tubman's long history with the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church in New York, she wrote to the bishop there. So the quilt traveled. The quilt traveled, and then there was another quilt as well, the Frederick Douglass. So that, I don't know. It's cool. I had no idea these were made in California, and I think that is just one of these moments. It happens on Quilt Nerd a lot. So those are the Thurmans. That's Mrs. Thurman and Ms. Thurman. Okay. And then so this is all from the California chapter of Communion of the Spirits. This woman, he talks more about her, but R.B. Williams was the winner of the 1991 National Heritage Fellowship, known for her breeches quilts. Working with her son in their Oakland garden is where they found her. And let's see. She was born in Texas. Her mother taught her to sew when she was 8 years old. She started piecing quilts by age 10 or 12. Look back here. There's a lot of stuff in the California pages of Freeman's book, but look at that's like, I think of breeches quilts with jeans that look really old, like really old, like from the 50s or something. But this is like, I don't know. I mean, he took this picture in 1992, and I feel like I maybe had these pants in high school. I don't know. They look like pretty new. They look pretty new. They look contemporary of that time. So Anne, her story is really cool. So as a young woman in the early 1940s, R.B. Williams organized a quilting club in a little railroad community in Beckville, Texas, where she and her family were living. The women met in each other's houses in the summer and did a quilt or two a week. She settled in Oakland in 1945. Anyway, it's great. Okay, and then that is Alice Walker. That's Alice Walker. Isn't that wonderful? Alice Walker, by the way, I know, a quilt or two a week, Raffle. It's kind of a lot of quilts. It's pretty awesome. This is Alice Walker. Now, I remember reading that Alice Walker said some weird stuff some years ago. I don't know. Like, she wrote some book that was really controversial. Let's not go there. But Alice Walker is an amazing author, and I hope that that she's doing well and she's writing her books. And look at this quilt next to her here. Look at this one. This it's a log cabin. It's log cabin, right? It's just a different setting for it. And yeah, she's like, I have an awesome home, and I'm sitting in my nest with my dog. Oh, look at her dog. It's so great. Anyway, so he does this big, this long interview with Alice Walker. And let's just see what she has to say. I'll just read a little bit of it. Yeah, the pineapple. Thank you. It's pineapple. A little tired. So Roland Freeman asks Alice to talk first about the tradition of quilting in her family. Alice Walker says, quote, "Well, my mother was a quilter, and I remember many, many afternoons of my mother and the neighborhood women sitting on the porch." Hang on, I'm going to go in here and get up like right in there so you can see more of the quilts. Sitting on the porch around the quilting frame, quilting and talking, getting up to stir something on the stove and coming back and sitting down. My mother also had a frame inside the house. Sometimes during the winter she would quilt, and she often pieced quilts. Piecing. I'm really more of a piecer, actually. Cool. Alice Walker's making quilts. It's awesome. I'm really more of a piecer, actually, than I am a quilter, because I can get as far as piecing all of the little squares or sections together, and sometimes putting them together into big blocks, but then I always have to call in help. Spreading it out on the frame, or spreading it out on the floor, and putting the batting in and doing the actual quilting. The first quilt I worked on was the Love and Trouble quilt. That one I did while living in Mississippi. Okay. Oh, it was during a period when we were wearing African-inspired dresses, so all of the pieces are from dresses I actually wore. It's awesome. Wow. Okay, wow. Okay, wait, I have to read you this. Sorry, just a little bit. So she says, I have an essay, How I Wrote the Color Purple, in which I describe how, when I started thinking about that book, I had to change everything in my life in order to write it. I had to leave my husband, sell my house in New York, sell 2 houses in New York, in fact, come here and try to find a place to work. I settled in San Francisco, and that wasn't right. And I went north to the country, and that was right, finally, although I went all over the country, this part of the country, looking for a place. I knew that in order for me to have the kind of meditative depth to the book that I needed, that I had to do work with my hands, and I asked my mother to suggest a pattern that would be easy. And she said there was nothing easier than the 9 patch. You know, you just get some fabric and cut up the pieces into 9 blocks and you sew them together and that's it. So I followed her advice and I went to Boonville in Northern California, and I was with my partner, Robert Allen, and we would make big fires in the stove and go apple picking or swimming in the river or whatever. And then in the evenings, I would work on this quilt. And as I worked on it, the novel formed. Oh my God! Wow! That's crazy! I didn't know this, you know? Like, oh man. Okay, so that's the quilt there on her couch, you guys. I asked Alice Walker, novelist, you know, author of The Color Purple, about the significance of the colors she chose. She said, I'm very deeply influenced by colors, and there are certain colors that come into my life with real persistence. And this kind of reddish or fuchsia, along with one of my old Indian dresses, black, green, and maroon stripes, these are colors that just struck me as colors I needed to give me strength to go on into the work I was doing, so that it always felt cheerful and strong and interesting working with these colors. I couldn't have written The Color Purple working on a brown quilt. That is totes amaze. Wow. Hey, horrid little Spitfires. It's good to see you. I'm so glad you're back. Yeah, I'm just wow. Yes. Yeah. Oh, it's so amazing. Oh. Wow. I just couldn't. I don't know. Wow. It's like reading The Color Purple. Did we read it in high school? I think so. Man, if I had known that she was making quilts, like, that would have been so cool. I would have thought quilts were way more cool at that time. It took me a little while. A new level of quilt inspiration, 1,000%. This book is so good. You got to get Communion of the Spirits. Okay, and then there's this. This is this other picture from this book I want to share. And then we're going to go, so we're in California. You know, there's so much happening in California, including Alice Walker quilting while she's writing The Color Purple. It's your favorite book ever, Elle Riggs. That's really cool. So Alice Walker is your, like, inspirational quilt story sister in the universe, you know? That's good. It's confirmed. So this is a picture of the African American Quilters of Los Angeles. Only 21 of the approximately 75 members are shown. This picture was taken in Los Angeles in 1992. And I love their quilt. I love their, like, banner quilt down there. And this, you know, he talks to the different women, some of them who are in the guild, and, you know, talks to, you know, them about their quilting heritage and when they started making quilts and how they happened to be in Los Angeles, you know, what their family history was. And it's just great. Yeah. Fearless indeed. Yes. You know what, Liz D? Good to see you, Liz D. They're 1,000%. The Alice Walker, for the Quilt Folk Block of the Month program thing that's starting. I haven't talked about it yet because I want to make sure I have all the marketing language, some of which I'm writing, but the marketing language right for it. But it's going to be really cool, and I'll talk more about it. But it's all about books and quilts, and I'll be dropping in every month for a little presentation to the people who are taking the Block of the Month thing and talking about books and quilts, and that will totally be in there. Okay, so, but I'll tell you more about that, y'all. I'm sure there's, if you know about it, there's stuff on the Quilt Folk website. But yeah, well, I'll tell you more personally about the block of the month thing that Quilt Folk is doing. You did? Oh, good. Christine signed up. Patchwork and Prose. It's called Patchwork and Prose, a bookish block of the month club. Bookish block of the month program? I forget what it was by the end. It's going to be really cool. Susan Armichael. Okay. Sorry, guys. I mean, I am a little bit tired tonight. I'm not like firing on all cylinders. I feel like I'm lagging behind like two steps. Anyway, so here are just a few delicious art quilts from the Quilt Digest, okay? All of these people are California people. This is Jean Hughes, and the name is Hewes, Jean Hughes. We will be totally like spending a long time. I keep almost doing a segment on Jean Hughes because I love her work. It's so cool. It's so great. This is called Black Eggman, 1981, 42 by 62. It's sort of painterly, and I don't know what it means when I say it's very feminine, but I just feel like her I don't know. There's floral things sometimes, and there's like these just really specific sort of feminine energies, I feel, in some of her work. You'll see. They kind of look like watercolors, or almost like here. You can see here in this flower. To me, Jean Hughes's work, like I said, we'll see more of it, looks like tissue paper. Like tissue paper has gotten wet. Oh, good, Kay, you're gonna sign up. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be amazing. I feel like I should have the marketing thing ready, but I haven't gotten it yet. But it's gonna be yeah. Take a look at the website, and then I'll be able to tell you more, next week when we talk. But yeah, books and quilts next from Quilt Folk for a block of the month program with Jenny Smith and Kay Walsh and me, and lots of special guests who are way more interesting. But I'll be talking about books and quilts, a little mini presentation every month. It'll be great. So, but Jean Hughes, it's like sort of this tissue paper kind of look, almost like, what are flowers that are really papery? Dahlias? No, even poppies. They just look like flower petals that have maybe, bled onto paper or something. It's just transparent. Thank you, Niflidster. That's exactly right. And they're just these wonderful layers and abstract shapes, and I don't know. You're gonna love it. And a lot of her work too is like, I feel like, is rectangular or big. It's yeah. So art quilter. And this was made in 1981. California. She's all up in the California. This one is Joan Schultz. Joan Schultz, California. Where am I going here? California, Joan Schultz. Oh, maybe it's here. I can't believe that's the California book that I've picked pictures from. I'm so sorry. I'm so tired. But that makes perfect sense. It's all solved. It's solved. The mystery solved. Okay. Joan Schultz is another one. I actually kind of get her confused with Jean Hughes sometimes. Joan Schultz, Lunch at the Flamingo Palace, 1983. So, I don't know. Like, I'm excited to read the paper. Peonies, thank you. Peonies. It's not bonkers to sign up for 2 block of the month clubs, Molly. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, what else? What else are you doing? Oh, okay, you're doing Jenny Haynes and Lucy Engel's block of the month. I've never done a block of the month as long as I have been around. I just never have. I don't know. I don't know why. It sounds really fun. I mean, we're putting this one together. I'm like, oh, I would totally do this. But I just never have. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, you could do 2. Why not? And okay, Quirk Quilts really likes a podcast. Quilt Cabana. Oh, I gotta write it down. I don't know about it. Quilt Cabana does a book review quilt podcast. Quilt Cabana. And you love it, and you wish the podcast was more consistent with the schedule. Life happens, but I'm quoting Court Quilts, but I wish she knew how valuable her show is and podcasted more often. Leave reviews, donate, guys, if you like the show. So important. That's awesome. I will check out Quilt Cabana faux show podcast. Cool. Yeah, it's true. You know, it really is like the subscriptions and stuff. I've never done this before, so I don't really know. Didn't really know how it would feel, but like, you know, so far, I mean, I don't know if Quilt Cabana is like getting rich on her podcast, you know, Twitch, you know, I'm not taking Eric out to the Four Seasons, you know, but it's not that, at least at this stage in like a creator, you know, trajectory or something, if whatever, it's so encouraging. It's like, okay, like this is great. People like this. It's worth something. I want to keep making it. People are saying like, good, you know, good enough that I want to encourage you with, you know, $4.99 a month, $9.99 a month. It's tremendously encouraging. I just can't even tell you. So yes, so Horrid Little Spitfire is saying this can be an yeah, the block of the month could be as easy or complicated as you make it 1,000%. I thought you were talking about the quilt on the screen. Susan R. Michael, I feel like I don't know your work enough to say this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I mean, painting elements. You have painting elements. Why do I, when I look at this, the center of this, I think perhaps Susan R. Michael is noting this kind of technique. I don't know. It's got a little bit of that 80s thing where like a neon thing is shooting through the frame. But I like it a lot. I think it's cool. All right. Just a couple more art quilts, and then we're going to look at some quilts from the past that Padma sent me that are just beautiful. This quilt is from Quilt Digest. Okay. There's just so many wonderful California quilts in there because I think, well, it was published in California and it was in the 80s, and so they really knew what was up. Foggy Interweave by Miriam Nathan Roberts from Berkeley, 1984. 57 by 56. Interesting. I would have said it was a lot bigger than that. Interesting. 57 by 56 inches. Machine pieced. Hand quilted by Sarah Hirschberger of Charm, Ohio. This quilt is one of a series. Interesting. Myra, are you going to do it? Yeah, you're doing it. Myra, you're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a really good time. I mean, I like that Quilt Folk's doing these workshops and things. Like, we're not just doing any old workshop. You know, the Bronte stuff, and because our readers are story people, you know. I don't know if I've mentioned lately, I'm not the editor-in-chief of Quilt Folk. Haven't been for almost a year. But I like working with them, and I like the direction that the classes and stuff are taking. I think it's pretty awesome. And remember, we're doing Beatrix Potter. We're doing the Beatrix Potter, just like the Bronte Quilt Workshop. We're doing Beatrix Potter around Easter, so that's coming up too. That'll be amazing. Anyway, so this is really cool. This is I think these are seams. I think they're seams. I don't think it's ombre. I mean, am I wrong? I think these are, you know, pieces of different colors of fabric graduated, you know, in this lattice. But I love it too, Ivana. I don't think it's a hand dye situation. Do you? No, it's kind of hard to tell, but I think they're pieces. Yeah, ombre effect, all pieced. I agree, Little Bird Stitch. I totally think so. Miriam was so nice. She loved making those ombre weave structures. Yeah. Susan says, I do improv intuitive placemats. Oh, cool, with little wonky scraps. I do dig the free feeling of that pink quilt. I dig it too. Do you dig it like you dig listening to Sabotage by the Beastie Boys? Because I dig that too. I like that a lot. It's one of my favorite songs ever. So yeah, this is a really cool quilt. This is very, very effective. You know what? I don't know. I get a little bit of a Molly Upton vibe. Are you feeling that? Or a Susan Hoffman vibe? A little bit, maybe. It's very effective. It really, really is an optical illusion. I mean, are you looking at this? Are you looking at this like I'm looking at this? It's pretty cray-cray. Hey, Jay Dancer. You love quilts that look woven? Well, I mean, this one Miriam was, yeah, okay, yeah. The quilting in this does a great job of amplifying the weave. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. It's really cool. It's so good. I love it. Okay, then this one I think is the last one from Quilters newsletter. From Quilt Digest. Whew. It's called Shooting Gallery. It's by Linda MacDonald. I'm seeing her name a lot. I don't know about her, but I keep coming across Linda MacDonald, so I gotta know more. She lived in Willits, California. This is in 1983. 82 by 92 inches. Machine pieced and hand appliqued. Cottons. Interesting. Looked all pieced to me. I have to say, oh no, up in here, there's applique. Some of these cottons are hand dyed. Quilted by hand, 1983. Interesting. I gotta zoom out again. I didn't really see the whole thing for very long. So what's up with these 80s quilts and this, like, there's such a look to so many of them. This, like, and I don't say that, it sounds like it's a bad thing, but just like this, so many long, narrow pieces. You know what I'm saying? It's like there were so many long, narrow pieces. Agreed. Great colors. Memphis design elements. Stephanie Cake. Yeah. Memphis design elements. Absolutely. The Memphis group. Totally looks like that kind of design vibe. If you don't know what the Memphis group is, if you can imagine the Saved by the Bell set, that was the Memphis group. Like the squiggles and the round chairs and stuff like that. I'm actually a big fan of that. I think it looks cool. But here's the thing that just popped into my mind. Is it possible, Padma, when did the rotary cutter come out? Maybe they discovered the joy of long pieces with a rotary cutter. You get the nerd. It's a very, very good hypothesis, or it's absolutely, that makes sense, because I mean, cutting a long piece, even with a rotary cutter, it's kind of tough, but it's way easier than with scissors. It's interesting. And I also wonder, like, in quilt making up until that point, I mean, obviously you had strippy quilts, obviously you had long pieces, but what if it was more possible, or what if one of the ways to make your quilts different was the longness, because you had blocks, you had small square blocks for a long time. Hey, Prairie Susie. The first rotary cutter was introduced by the Alpha Company in 1979 for garment making, but it was quickly adopted by quilters. Totally. Yeah, this black and white section at the bottom is the best. Totally agree. Let's take a look. So, I mean, I just wonder about that because, of course, you had long stripes. The Amish did, long stripes. Joseph's coat is a quilt with lots of stripes, long strips. But there's just so much of these long, skinny pieces, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing to think about. Prairie Susie. Oh, yeah. Prairie Susie. Got it. I really like it, too, Raffle. I think it's great. 1979, the year I was born. And my mom, she said she would never forget this woman was like, mom was teaching somewhere, and she talked to this lady, and she was like, well, everybody keeps talking about this awful cutter. I just don't know why people want to use it if it's so awful. But it was the Olfa cutter. The Olfa cutter. She was down south. So, 1930s vibe with the mint. I love that people are responding to this quilt. I also responded to it. I think it's really cool. It kind of, and then what's this like? It looks like a cable, like an electric, like a fiber optics cable through the very middle, Stephanie Cake. Watch your mouth. No, I'm just kidding. My mom made an F ton of checkerboard quilts in the 80s. It's great. Yeah, there were many. Okay, we got to keep moving, guys. We got to keep moving. Oh, that's it. That's it for that. Okay. Oh, no, it's not. We got a couple more. Oh, no, it's not. I have one slideshow tonight with one slideshow to rule them all. This is Linda MacDonald, Clear Palisades, 1987. See what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? And so she's in California, too. Remember, all of these quilts, California. That's the theme for the night. That's as good as I got. But I think it's kind of cool, actually. thinking about. And California is just such an interesting place when it comes to quilts. They're just really a dynamic spot. It's a dynamic spot. Yeah. I mean, and when I say I'm playing it fast and loose tonight, usually I'm like, okay, Linda McDonald, let's read about her. I don't have it tonight. It just didn't happen. It didn't happen. That's okay. We can just let it absorb. Hey, Sohani. Okay, so Sohani, it's good to see you. No interpretive descriptions. I wish. There are interpretive descriptions in the next book, in the quilts that are coming next from this gorgeous book by Padma. Padma, you wrote a gorgeous book. You sent a gorgeous book. But there's nothing else. But believe me, all of these people, like, they have folders, on my hard drive, my external hard drive. Frank, the external hard drive. I don't know. Just call him Frank. Because she's really interesting. And I think this is the second quilt, actually, by Linda McDonald that we have in the show. I mean, and again, these long strips, these long pieces. It's interesting. I mean, you can look at quilts at other times and, like, these quilts these are so different from quilts that were made in the 1910s, they're just different. They're really different. Core Quilt says, lots of geometric shapes in either primary colors or pastels. It's so popular now, it's difficult to find true vintage examples on Google. Interesting. You get a lot of contemporary results, very derivative and doesn't quite capture the essence of the original aesthetic. Interesting. What's the book name again for spreadsheet reasons? God bless you. You mean these, Raffle? The Quilt Digest. And then the book that's coming up next is Quilts. California bound, California made, 1840 to 1940. It's a really great book. I had never seen it before. I think I'd seen it, but you kind of forget what you have, and like it's like I think I've got it, but it's my other California books that I have. Okay, here we go. Olfa, yeah, it's a good name for a cat. Yeah, 1000%. Okay, come on. All right. So now we go to this. Now this is I've got like 6 or 7. Like I said, it's not going to be a super late night tonight. No, it's the same as it's always. It's already 9:30. I don't know. If I ever say it's going to be a shorter show, and it is, that'll be something. So this book is from Padma, and it's by Sandy Fox. And Sandy Fox is a name I've heard a lot. Sandy Fox is former collection curator. Oh, look how cool she looks. She looks so cool. Sandy Fox. Oh, and this was published in... This is a very nice book. It's very, very pretty. 2002. Sandy Fox. California Cool. Let's see. She's a former collection curator of quilts at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. Awesome. Also at the International Quilt Museum. And maybe the associate fellow. Anyway, she's done a lot of things at lots of museums. She's the author of numerous books, articles, exhibition catalogs. She's National Endowment for the Arts. She's great. And she lives in Los Angeles. Cool. So this book says, the richly... Let me zoom in on this stuff. It's pretty cool. The richly diverse legacy of California's quilts. Oh, wait, no, actually, there's this little tagline. They were pioneers, mothers and daughters, sisters and sisters-in-law, wives and widows. They had packed little of a personal nature, but they possessed a set of abilities, brought or acquired, that assured their survival. Important among these, when there were families to be clothed, was the ability to sew, plain and fancy. Okay. The richly diverse legacy of California's quilts is beautifully chronicled in words and images in this extraordinary collection spanning a century of quilt making. Here is the story of California's quilts, from those California bound, carried on the backs of mules and horses in covered wagons by ship or train, to those California made, worked on the farms and in villages and cities across the state. Whether to remember friends and family back home, mourn loved ones lost, record cultural and historical events, or illustrate their new surroundings, California's quilt makers pieced, appliqued, embroidered, and embellished cloth in an astonishing variety of quilts and bed covers. Contemporary letters, diaries, and historical records provide authentic accounts of the social, political, and cultural context in which California's quilts were brought west and worked there. The nuances of each quilt, the colors, stitches, and inked inscriptions, and the stories of the women whose skilled hands crafted them highlight the significance of the quilts and their elements that define them. And throughout is the recognition that while these cloth masterpieces played a role in the country's changing historical and cultural landscape, the techniques, patterns, and fabrics used to create them were, in fact, part of the seamless, unchanging tradition of American quilt making. Yeah. It's beautiful. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. All right. So check this out. This is a detail shot of this quilt. And I thought I had the full thing, but I don't. There's wonderful, so honey, like the interpretive text in this book is like, I mean, this is the quilt, and that's just some of the text. Like, if you want to dig deep on a quilt, this is great. Padma, how do you? So tell me how you came to send this book. You know, I mean, tell me what attracted you to it. I mean, it's beautiful, but like, why this one specifically? I'd like to know. So this is a detail of the God and Grant quilt. It's from Unionville, California, 1878, made by Susan Deering Laurie, 80 by 62. Oh my God, listen to this. By the way, I pulled this because look at this. Look at the back. Look at that. That's why I was like, well, I want to look at that one. Susan Laurie, born in 1824, died in 1884. Susan and her husband Adam moved from Kentucky to Missouri in 1846. In 1853, they left for California in a covered wagon with a baby, 4 young children, all under the age of 8. Oh boy. And great expectations. So, covered wagon, baby, 4 young children, and great expectations. The writing is so good. I love it. Instead, as for many, California held disaster. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Oh, this is really hard. Oh, dear. This is dark. Well, okay. This is hard. This is really hard. It's a really tragic story. I'll skim it. The brick home was burned to the ground because a child accidentally set the curtains on fire with a candle. 3 of their 10 children passed. And her husband, in 1880, Adam committed suicide by drowning himself in the American River, which ran through the back of their property. He was distraught over the theft of gold left in the safe of his general store for safekeeping by local miners. His son-in-law was convicted and sent to state prison for the crime. Wow. Okay, that's awesome. Oh, it's so good. Thanks, Padma. This is really, really good. Yeah, Molly, I mean, life was hard. I mean, look, Susan's grave is unmarked. She is remembered instead. Okay. She's remembered instead by this surprising quilt. One would scarcely expect to turn over a pieced quilt and find a large presidential campaign banner on its reverse. What? From the beginning, America's political history was written on a variety of textiles, and those textiles were often incorporated into America's quilts. In 1776 in England, okay, we're not going to go back to England. Wow. By 1868, Ulysses S. Grant and the Union victories had moved in great masses of Union veterans. Had moved great masses of Union veterans into the ranks of Republican voters. The boys in blue arrived from all over the North to march in support of the presidential campaign of their former commander. It's difficult to know where this campaign banner originated. It's just amazing. Isn't that amazing? How come fonts and writings look so cool back then? I mean, yeah, there really are these stories. I mean, they really are stories. I mean, that woman didn't write down her life, you know. But we've kept the story of her, you know. And it's like, is it important? I don't know. I think it is. I think it is. I think it's important. I think it helps make us human. Oh wow. It's easier to identify the origin of the variety of predominantly brown and pink printed cottons that comprise the pieced top of this quilt. They were probably leftovers from the construction of dresses for Susan and her daughters, 3 of whom helped her make the quilt. So cool. So cool. And yet, do you think that you've seen the coolest quilt? No. This is the quilt on the very next page. Remember, this is Padma's book. That just sounds like a story, I don't know. You know, some sort of special, lifetime special Padma's book. Quilts, California bound, California made. It's really good. So this one, look at this one, the Soldier's Quilt. 1901, provenance unknown. Provenance. Look at this. Look at this crazy thing. What's going on? 79 by 69, quilt maker unidentified. Remarkable circumstances. Sorry, I gotta zoom out again. Sometimes I zoom in too quickly. We need to regard this whole thing. Oh no. Oh, is there snark? Oh no. Okay. Yeah, Robin's Nest. Write this stuff down. I know. I don't really do it either. Remarkable circumstances surely surround the construction of this utterly fascinating quilt, but as yet, research has revealed only that it was made by a soldier recovering from injuries received in the Spanish-American War and came to California through marriage into a family descended from John Sutter. The custom of a wounded warrior wielding a needle during the idle hours of his convalescence was particularly British tradition, we know that, during the second half of the 19th century. She talks about the intarsia quilts and all that. This American, over in England, this American soldier's quilt was worked in similarly vibrant colors, 20th century cottons pieced into a brilliant Star of Bethlehem. It's pretty brilliant. Like, it's pretty darn good. It does look shiny. It definitely looks shiny. Cottons, it totally looks shiny, El Riggs. That's what I don't totally understand. Like, it's really shiny. How did it get that way? Maybe they'll tell us. Photographs of 4 American presidents pasted onto the star's surface. Lincoln, Grant, Garfield, and McKinley. All but Grant were assassinated. Wow. The photographs, having them all together, it's intense. The photographs were produced in a cluster. The images were based on photographic engravings. Some entrepreneur took a photograph of each printed image. Oh, yeah, okay. They're talking about the engravings. I have a couple. Don't I have... Yeah, I've got a detail shot, but I'm not done with you yet. Small woven American flags encircle the central field, and a few silk flags, of foreign nations, possibly tobacco premiums, we keep reading about those, are included on the quilt. But most intriguing are the odd shapes that surround the star. Now identified, they are handmade silk duplicates. Oh my God, are you ready for this? Of Civil War Corps badges. Handmade silk duplicates of Civil War Corps badges. Held fast to the yellow sateen ground, with embroidered feather stitches. The use of Corps badges purportedly was inspired by an incident in June 1862, in which Union General Philip Kearny, having mistakenly chastised members of a division not under his command, directed his officers to sew identifying 2-inch pieces of red flannel to the tops of their caps. The enlisted men in his division soon followed suit, cutting and wearing their own red badges. This is great. On March 21, 1863, on orders from Major General Hooker, corps badges were adopted for all units. Okay, To identify each badge on this soldier's quilt by its shape and by the small silk number sewn onto its surface is to read the story of that terrible war. Wow. Pretty incredible. Padma, I just haven't, I mean, the affiliate link, they sent me the thing, and then they said congratulations, and then it was like 2 days later, and I was like, cool, time to like get the thing, and I clicked my affiliate link setup link, and it doesn't do anything. It says, it just keeps asking me to put in my password and my screen name, and then I click it, and it doesn't say error, you don't have your password or anything. It's just nothing happens on the site. And so I can't get my affiliate link yet. So I don't have one yet. So I just go buy books. But it'll happen. It's just like it keeps going down to the list, down the list, because there's so many other things on top of the list. But anyway, here's a close-up of that. Okay. Stephanie Cake. Piecework did an article recently about quilting and soldiers in recovery. So fascinating. Awesome. Okay, we're going to go to... Okay, look at this. Look at this. I hadn't seen something like this before. It is... I got a picture of the quilt. It's a crazy quilt. And we've all seen so many of them. I just feel like, I don't know. Some people love crazy quilts so much. And they're okay, but here's a detail of this quilt, because I was standing at the scanner and I had to get all these scans put in and filed and everything. So this is a detail shot from the quilt that these sketches belong to in this book, and I don't know. I've never seen crazy quilt stitches like this. You know, I wanted to look at it. Yeah, Kelly, it's about, those symbols are about, it was these patches. So, yeah, they were corps badges. Yeah, they were corps badges for part of in the Spanish-American War, for this particular, Union General Philip Kearny. Anyway, yeah, it's in the last part of the entry for that quilt. It's pretty interesting. So these are just sort of like a schematic of these stitches. So the Floral Crazy Quilt. Yeah, I wonder what the music is. Maybe they'll tell us. The Crazy Quilt was made in Chicago, and it's this one. Remember, it's this. This is a detail of the quilt, and made in Chicago in 1885. Unidentified maker. It now lives in Los Angeles, at the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County. So, in 1885, for only 10 cents, an ambitious quilt maker, even in the most remote California town, could acquire details on how to master the complexities of the crazy quilts that were worked in the most fashionable of Eastern parlors. In his small but comprehensive booklet, Ornamental Stitches for Embroidery, T.E. Parker of Lynn, Massachusetts, was pleased to provide, quote, instructions for making crazy patchwork. Crazy patchwork has now become so popular, this is from his little thing, as to require but little instruction. As the name indicates, it is simply sewing together odd bits of silk, satin, plush, etc. in a haphazard sort of way, so that the angles may somewhat imitate the craze or crackle of old china, from which all this kind of work derives its name. The ornamenting of the seams with fancy stitches in bright-colored silks gives a very pleasing effect. Okay, Stephanie Cake, you gotta go to sleep. I feel you. And then, yeah, and so then these are ornamental stitches for embroidery. And this is from that book, I think. It's from his little book of how to do things. In text and illustrations, the booklet detailed the varieties of embroidery stitches that were appropriate as embellishment. Outline, Kensington, plush or tufted stitch, Aracene and chenille, and the manner in which they could be overlaid and combined. In addition to the embellishment of the seams, a number of motifs and objects floated crazily across the quilt. Among those embroidered elements, things Japanese were especially favored. The cranes that stood in the gardens of the pavilion and the exposition, fans, owls, tiny insects, spider webs. The maker of this crazy quilt that would eventually travel from Chicago to California was focused almost solely on flowers. Yeah, it's true. They're all flowers. That's so cool. That's so cool. This is a great book. Good night, Stephanie. See you later. Okay, this next one. This one is ridiculous. Every quilt in this book is awesome. But this one, I mean, since we can't stay all night long, I've got two more for you that kind of like steal the show anyway. So, yeah. Didn't think you were going to see that tonight, right? So this picture, so bananas. It was so bananas. John Tam's Crazy Quilts. Okay, can you see that curtain? Look at that curtain. Look at that. It's a crazy quilt. It's a crazy quilt curtain. Isn't that crazy? Oh, I love their faces. They're so cool. Oh my God, he looks so young. These people always looked so old to me when I was younger, you know, these old pictures that people looked old. They're like in their 20s, you know? Yeah, Christine, OMG, indeed. So that crazy quilt. Padma, you found a gem. There was surely no more extraordinary California quilt maker than John Thomas Tam. But we know of his work only through 2 photographs and an album of miscellaneous newspaper clippings. One of those clippings notes that Monsieur Ravela, seen posed in embroidered elegance with an unidentified assistant here. I know, just when you thought you'd seen everything, right? Tam's Stockton boyhood. Oh, wait, hold on. So this is a clipping. This is a quote from a clipping that he was in. Monsieur Ravela is a native son of the Golden West. And up Stockton Way, where he comes from, they call him Jack Tam. He is tall and slender and good-looking and has expressive purple eyes. Oh, wow. Incidentally, he eats fire and chews red-hot iron, molten lead, and all of that sort of thing for a livelihood. You know, all of that sort of thing. He also does plain and fancy juggling on the side. So he is, his boyhood, so he saw, you know, circus acts and things like that. Continuing a varied career as an itinerant entertainer, Tam eventually joined the Pawnee Indian Medicine Company, and it was during this period he found his creative moment. Quote. Okay, you ready for this? There's another picture. Whoa. I know. Joyous fibers. Totally. Are you seeing this? This is one of the most amazing pictures I've ever seen. I know. I mean, that's not quite the right sound effect. I don't know. I guess it's this. Quote. I did it, to prevent myself dying of ennui. You see, I was once in the dime museum business, and there, you know, a fellow has to do his turn as often as a dozen and even 15 times a day. There is not a time to go home between the acts, and it gets awfully monotonous in the dressing room. One day, about a dozen years ago, I had a bit of mending to do on some props. There was no girl to do it for me, so I tackled the job myself. I found the time passed quickly while I was plying the needle, so for the fun of things, I began to go in for fancy bits of patchwork, for stage suits and things. Gradually, the diversion became a passion. Kind of an obsession. There are hundreds of thousands of different pieces in the combination, every one of them silk or satin, and not a dozen over 3 inches square. Whoa! With both sides matching and in perfect harmony. Besides the time taken up, it has cost me a trifle over $2,000 for materials. You see, there are over 60 pounds of spangles in it, and spangles cost about $2 a pound. Myra, what are you up to? Myra says, what do you say, Myra? He eats fire with that mustache. Yeah, not for long. But, I mean, this is just, isn't this amazing? Oh my God. So he bedazzled it and it cost him a lot of money. Yeah. Wow. It says it takes 3 stitches to each spangle, and there are about 4,200 spangles. That would make 750,000 stitches for spangles alone, and the spangles are mere little extras, unquote. I mean, the newspapers loved it. They talked about it. Wow. The newspaper said the quilt gives the appearance of a magic cave. I am tired, you guys. It is in patchwork and all kinds of designs: stars, hearts, squares, roses, diamonds, shells, fawns, and numerous other designs, all sewn by Mr. Ravella's hands. Wow. No, oh God, no woman could have been defter. No slave of the sweating system more industrious. Oh, no. Wait. Yeah, that's what it is. Stop, phone. You're messing up my new... No, oh no, it's a group text. Oh God, they never stop. Look, listen, it's gonna keep going and going. No. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. You know when you get the group text going and it's like... I love the group. It's my family. But that's a lot. Can we start? Let me read this again. Let's go back. We're rewinding. Monsieur Ravella bit off another length of silk and again commenced plying his needle. No woman could have been defter. Oh my God. No slave. Oh God. No slave of the sweating system more industrious. It's really bad. I don't know. She's really mean. Oh, yeah. It gets kind of grosser. Anyway. Oh, no. If 1/2 of the old women in the United States who make crazy quilts for the fun of the thing and then grumble over the pastime were to go in for the work with the same assiduity as does Monsieur Ravella, there would be no room for anything besides crazy quilts in America. Boo! The place would gleam with them and glisten. Oh, whatever. I'm cutting you off. I hate that guy. Yeah, he's the worst. But this is it's really something, right? It's really something. Yeah, really cool. I love that she's pointing to him like, this guy? You want me to work with this guy tonight? Why can't I work with John? He knows the stuff better. He knows his lines. He never screws it up. I think it is, in the Flinster, it is another way of saying not your grandmother's quilt. If S.J. Pepper was here, I'd be pressured into taking a shot of tequila. It's what would happen. I think we all know. S.J., if you're lurking, continue to lurk. Yeah, I know. I'm not plying my needle as spectacularly as the man. Oh, yes. Okay, so, there's 2 more quilts. We have 2 more quilts. And then Mary's gotta hop along to bed. Okay, so this is really exciting. Kelly, that's so good. She's pointing to him and saying, this guy eats fire. Yeah, exactly. Okay, are you ready for this? Look at this. Oh my God. It's so great. It's so cool. I love this quilt. And it's a sugan. We read about the cowboy sugans the other day. This is one of them. This is so beautiful. It's so cool. So it's a sugan from Sacramento Valley, California, late 19th century. Wool, maker unidentified. 77 by 66. And once again, this awesome writing. The most elemental quilt can also be the most enigmatic. So it is with this well-worn artifact. 2 widths of coarse red wool were worn and mended before they were sewn together to form the surface. That surface was then strangely embellished with 3 vertical rows of large, dark shapes. Yeah, this is like... Yeah. Oh, wow. These could possibly suggest an unidentified ethnicity. It seems more probable they were a rough attempt to illustrate the design elements of local cattle brands. Yeah. The thick wool batting confirms the quilt's utilitarian intention, and the presence of substantial wear and deterioration supports the suspicion that this Sacramento Valley textile was used as a working cowboy's sugan. Boom. That's the back. So cool. So she talks a little bit about sugans, which we're like, we already know that. Look how worn it is. It's just really, it's really worn. And that stripe, it's so good. Isn't it good? The sugan was the essential part of the cowboy's bedroll, and the bedroll was an essential part of the cowboy's outfit. Agnes Morley Cleveland was born on a cattle ranch in New Mexico in 1874. And years later, sorry, I want to go back to the quilt. Hey, stop bouncing. Years later, she set down vivid recollections of her life there and of the cowboys on that open range. The cowboy would arrive at the spring and fall roundups with his bulky and all-inclusive bedroll carried on his pack horse. Quote, it probably inventoried a 7 by 16 foot tarpaulin cover, a pair or two of store blankets, although in my day, she was writing this in 1941, homemade comforters were in general use. A few boughten sugans, things that drove cowboys crazy, trying to decide which was length and which was breadth. Along with the sugans, the bedroll probably contained an extra pair of boots, socks, an extra shirt, smoking tobacco, and any other oddments making up the quota of personal belongings. Oh, this is interesting. Cowboying was usually a bachelor's business, but the sugan was usually made by female kin. Was this faded, worn bed quilt saved as a rough recollection of those independent days? Interesting. It is. It's real sweet. I just love those symbols. They look really neat. And look how it's patched right there in the middle, you know? That's really cool. That thing is worn up, you know? It's been used. Been used hard. Okay, so that's the front and that's the back. And then a sugan, it's the cowboy blanket, Padma. It's a blanket that is wool, and let me get you an actual definition. Hang on. A cowboy's sugan is a comforter. Thickness was required for warmth for these guys. So the cowboy's sugan was often a comforter, top, heavy batting, and back tied together by knotted bits of yarn. So kind of a comforter, you know. I mean, it's a quilt, but a little bit different. Yeah. And it's spelled a lot of different ways, Padma. It's like sugan, S-O-O-G-I-N, or sugan, or it's pronounced lots of different ways. Okay, the last quilt, the best one. Is it the best one? I don't know, but it's really great. Okay, this is our closer tonight. Thank you, Padme, again. This book is really, really, really awesome. The Mount Wilson Observatory Quilt. I mean, cool, right? Look at this thing. I guess when I zoom in quickly, it's because I want you to be able to see more of it on your screen. So I think so far no one's like, go back. Because you know I will. You know I'll go back. This we can look at this. Yeah, this is kind of it's this too. yeah. Probably Pasadena, 1930. Maker unidentified. Really? Really? This one? We don't know? We don't know what this one... Oh, man, look at the stars. Oh, they're so cool. They're so hard. Stars are so hard. I tell you, I cannot applicate a star to save my life. They're just hard. I don't know. She could teach me something. So it's 82 by 65. Look at this. Look at this thing. It's crazy. In 1864, Benjamin Wilson built a trail to the top of a wild mountain in Southern California's Sierra Madre Range. The lumber he sought proved unsuitable for his purposes, and the trail up what was to be called Wilson's Peak was abandoned. But a decade later, in 1873, settlers from Indiana established the Indiana Colony on a segment of Wilson's old ranch. The community of Pasadena thus established, and soon thriving, all activity focused there on the valley. Okay. They talk about John Muir, right? The guy over there. So the study of astronomy. Okay. In 1889, on Wilson's Peak, a group of Harvard astronomers tested observing conditions on the mountain for the University of Southern California. Okay, cool. And then years later, this person was determined to build his solar observatory on that spot, on Wilson's Peak. Okay, and he did. See, we learned about astronomy in the early days of Pasadena just by looking at a quilt. It's you know that's what happens. That's why we're quilt nerds. It's not just about the blanket. If it was about the blanket, it wouldn't be enough. Oh, pardon me. Okay. Okay. This is great. So, with its great telescopes installed, Mount Wilson Observatory dominated astronomy, really, throughout the first half of the 20th century. I didn't know that. And the discoveries made there, nature of the galaxies, the composition of the stars, the workings of the sun, the structure of the universe, altered forever the way we look at the heavens. That's so cool. I love the quilting too. Yeah, I mean, what's going on there? I mean, it really looks like has it been washed a lot? Like, I wouldn't wash this one. I'd be like, get away from this. From that point on, in Pasadena, on what had been Benjamin Wilson's ranch, interest in astronomy and the activities on Mount Wilson ran at occasionally fevered pitch, both communally and commercially. We can only imagine the inspiration for this celestial creation. The Mount Wilson Observatory quilt. Two of the observatory's architectural elements, the dome of the 100-inch telescope, which is that figure 1, this thing down there, the blobby thing, and the 150-foot solar tower telescope are appliqued and embroidered, and they're surrounded by the objects of its studies. The moon and Saturn are set among 93 scattered stars, 8 of which form the Big Dipper. Oh, wow. Did anybody see that? Me neither, Padma. It may be that I missed something in the chat, and either one of you counted all the stars that quickly, or you noticed it was the Big Dipper. I would not be surprised. I did not notice. I've also been reading, but I wouldn't have noticed even if I looked at it. Hundreds of small 5-point stars form the quilted ground. It's so neat. In the Sears, Roebuck and Company building that was constructed for the 1933 Chicago World's Fair, the most popular exhibit, thematically and technically, this would have been a competitive entry. That's interesting. We don't know maybe if she submitted it to the contest, but really interesting. Worked for whatever reason, the quilt celebrates George Hale's great vision. Quote, a picture growing clear before his eyes of all that was to be in the years to come upon that mountaintop. Harold Babcock in 1903. Hey, good night, Kelly. I'm glad you came by. Really glad. So, yeah. I mean, California. We took a trip. It's cold here. I'd rather be, one day, Padma, maybe we'll get nerds together and we'll all just hang out in your California pad, drink some wine, eat some crisps. That would be nice. I would like that. I've never heard of observatory. Okay, well, everybody, so that's the show. I hope my energy wasn't too low for you. I'm dragging a little bit. So Tuesday, it's been great to be hanging out on the Discord. And, by the way, for those of you who have been, we hang out, all of us, y'all, we hang out. And so if you're feeling, tired of the stuff that's been going on, I mean, I don't need to tell you this, but I'm just saying, I took a break today from even looking at any of that stuff, and it's going to blow over and everything, I don't know, but just, I mean, I just think if you're reading the comments and stuff and you need a break, when you need a break, but I appreciate you, even I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just hang in there and don't think you have to. I don't know. I'm too tired. I just appreciate you. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't know. Thanks for being out there in the fray, but that's all. Okay. before I say more mushmouth things that I just need to go to sleep. I need to go to sleep so bad. So I'm going to go to sleep. But I'll see you on the Discord, I hope, if you feel like being there. And that's what I'm trying to say. If you feel like being there, that's great. If you don't, that's cool. And I would like to see you soon. And I will definitely see you on Tuesday night. It's time for me to go to sleep. Good night, everybody. Be safe. And we'll see you soon, okay? All right. Bye.